Once again, I'm Mr. Amuom, and we had agreed that we want to look into finer details the play Adult's House. It is our compulsory book this year. Still we are in essay writing, and this our topic is Demystifying Writing in Adult's House by Henrik Ibsen. Now, in order to do this, it is important to look at the possible questions that can help us understand Adult's House and again learn on what to do in order to answer these questions right. Now, today our question is targeting the society. The question reads, in the society, some people tend to be more concerned about the way they are perceived by the public than what is good for themselves. Write an essay in support of this assertion. Refer to the play Adult's House for illustrations. Now, up to the point where we have themselves, from where we have write an essay, that is just an instruction of what we are going to do. But the gist of the matter is it ends with the word themselves and begin in the society. So, what is important is, first of all, to underscore the keywords in the statement that point to the question. And what is important, the first thing is the words some people. We are told there are people in Adult's House that are concerned about the way they are perceived by the public as opposed to what is good for themselves. So that question has some elements of contrast that must come out. That first of all, we have to identify these people. Number two, we want to see how they are concerned about their image in the public, and we want to see when they make such decisions, then they deny themselves certain opportunities. And this is our sample introduction. So our introduction should echo that without repeating those keywords. The introduction should echo that so that in the long run we have the link, and in the long run we have the test. And our sample introductory part reads, in Adult's House, which is now the link, characters such as Elmer and Krogstad. So when we are talking about Helmer and Krogstad, we are already underscoring the aspect of some people then are willing to go to any extent to keep their image in the public domain as positive as possible. Now, if you are a good student and you can do all that, then you can see that what we have is already taken care of. But it is advisable that we go for the second sentence where the two slashes are. That is the first sentence where the full stop is. Now the second sentence is an expansion, is a specific point in Adult's House that echoes what we have. For example, Krogstad fights tooth and nail to retain his job at the bank for the sake of his image in the society. Now we have seen what Stovan is doing. This is just adding to what we have said in the first sentence. And at that point, this introduction as it is stands to give us 2 marks out of 2. Now the first point we want to see, in the introduction we have echoed that there are certain people. For example, Helmer fits this bill, Krogstad also fits the bill. Now we also have Nora. Nora is now our third example, third character that is also more concerned about how she is perceived. And our statement should therefore answer the question. P1, because we are talking of perceived. Nora conceals her craving for the macaroons in the public in order to give an image of an obedient and a faithful wife to the husband, while in reality she is not. I want you to see that we say that there is some aspects of contrast, and the bit of why is very important for us to score this question fully. And therefore we have seen that Nora says that she hasn't eaten not one, not two, but indeed There are instances when we see her eating the macaroons and keeping it in her pocket or wiping her mouth. That is a point. That is a pointer to the fact that she's doing, she's saying she's not for the macaroons for the sake of how the public will perceive her as a good and obedient husband, while indeed we know that is not the truth. Now these illustrations are found in page 7, page 2, and the craving is in page 27. Number P2, the second point, P2, Krogstad is the son, one person who Krogstad pleads with Nora to prevail upon Helma not to sack him, because if this happens, then his image will receive a permanent beating, given his past records, instead of confessing. Again, the aspect of instead of point to us the fact that the confession was the ideal direction that would have given toward a lifeline. We are told she would have confessed. We are told he would have owned up. We are told that he would have taken his fault. He would have taken his punishment. But instead, he went under. Instead, he became cunning. So that his image in the society is positive, and that is why he is not willing to do that. Now, P3, we have Helma refusing to retain Krogstad in the bank, despite Nora's plea, because he feels that Krogstad's dismissal is already in the public domain. Helma has already set his eyes on dismissing Krogstad. At the point when Nora tries to intervene, this idea of Tovar's dismissal is already in the public domain. All the people that work in the bank are already aware that Tovar is going to be dismissed. On account of this, on account of Tovar's Helma not wanting to appear ridiculous before his subordinates, he refuses to rescind Tovar's dismissal, because he's telling us, how am I going to be perceived where I work? And we see this in page 58, we see this in page 51, and we see this in page 59. Now lastly, Tovar promises to stand by Nora at all costs, only to turn around and blame Nora for ruining his reputation, and goes ahead to place restrictions on how they are to operate as a family. Now, earlier on, after Tovar had realized that Nora had sacrificed a lot, he actually appears to be so loving to Nora, and therefore tells her how she is willing to stand by her side, how she will have all the courage to stand by her, come rain, come sunshine. But the irony is that when the truth comes of the forgery comes out, Tovar is now keen on saving his image. And I want to beg that we may read a bit, that bit, so that we see what we want to see Tovar making the promise for the sake of the public. And we want to see later on, again, Tovar rescinding, betraying, not standing by his promise for the sake of the public. Page 61. The last Helma, there is a line that says that, my dear Nora, I can, the last Helma, my dear Nora, I can forgive the anxiety you are in, although really it is an insult to me. So Nora is anxious because she's aware Krogstad as a tool that he can unleash to destroy the family. But Tovar is saying that, my dear, I can forgive the anxiety you are in, although really it is an insult to me. So he feels that as a man, Nora should not fear, so long as Nora have him by her side. Then he says that, come what will, you may be sure I shall have both courage and strength. So Tovar promises that if Nora is endangered, then that is the time that Nora will see his courage and strength, and is willing to protect Nora at all costs. In page 62 he says, everything I say. So he promises to protect Nora against any evil. But when we turn around to page 103, we see a different Tovar the second Tovat Helma, he says, holding her back, where are you? You shan't save me, Tovat. True, is this true that I read here? Horrible, no, it is impossible that it can be true. Then he says that no tragic airs, please. Here you shall stay and give me an explanation. Do you understand what you have done? Answer me. Do you understand what you have done? Then he says in the last Helma, what a horrible awakening. All these 8 years, she who was my joy and pride, a hypocrite, a liar, was more worse than a criminal, the unattainable and ugliness of it all. For shame, for shame. Then in the last bit, Elma is now blaming Nora. All your father's want of principle. Be silent. All your father's want of principle has come out in you. No religion, no morality, no sense of duty. No, I am punished for having winked at what you did. I did this. Then if you look at page 105, then Nora is saying that Elma is now putting restrictions. He's saying that the matter must be hashed up at any cost. He has actually, he doesn't want anything to do with Nora. But now that he has realized that, again, Nora's departure may ruin his reputation, now he's willing to retain Nora for the sake of his image. He's saying that I shall not allow you to bring up the children. I dare not trust them to you. To think that I should be obliged to say so to one whom I have loved so dearly and whom I still. No, that is all over. From this moment, happiness is not the question. So we see a different obstinate Elma altogether. And therefore he turns around and betrays and negates, contradicts the promise that he had made. But remember, he's doing all this because he's saying that he does not want his reputation, his image before the public. How are the public supposed to perceive me? So these are the things that stop Tovat from taking a personal decision, from taking a decision that would favor the family that is standing by Nora and allowing the whole scenario to pass. In conclusion, we are concluding and we say this phrase is important. It must be conscious, and it can only be conscious when we have it. Sometimes we take certain directions because they appear popular with the public at the cost of our individual interests. That therefore echoes the question, and in that regard, that question is fully answered. Now let us look at this assignment. Nora is a strong-willed heroine in her marriage with the top part. Refer to A Doll's House by Henry Ibsen. So candidates must learn to give the episodes, do the introductions, do the episodic sentences, and above all, clothe that skeleton answer that we have given in the episode with the relevant details in order to score good marks. Thank you. Let's meet next time.